Ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again for Pete and Pat in the morning. Broadcasting live! Recorded before our studio audience. Recorded. Yeah, we grass up. It's time for Pete and Pat in the morning.
Muckrakers. All right. Welcome to this is a milestone, episode 30 of those Muckrakers. So much has happened since we began raking muck 30 weeks ago. I'm Pete.
And I'm Pat.
And yeah, man. Just as you're listening to this, you're going to enjoy. We're having some technical difficulties, as in Pat got a new computer, and mine's still trying to die. So we're going to have some different intro music. So you may have enjoyed that, provided by us.
Yar.
And because Pat spent all day trying to figure out how long has it been since you've had a new computer? It's been over a decade.
It's been about 15 years.
All right.
So
yeah,
like part of the reason I needed to get a new computer is that my last one couldn't use Wi-Fi because Wi-Fi didn't exist when it was built, and it didn't have an HDMI plug, so I couldn't actually view high definition anything on my monitor.
Yeah, you basically had the Abe Simpson of computers.
Right. The turtle said over easy.
Every time you try to open a program, it just goes, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Like it gets all confused. So it's been a crazy week this week with the news. I did the notes this week, so this is going to be great.
Yar.
Let's jump.
Yes, because on top of me getting a new computer and all that, I've also been on my laptop playing the new World of Warcraft expansion all week, so I ain't got any notes whatsoever. I ain't got shit.
Well,
this is an all Pete show.
Well, what's great is
he's gonna say stuff, and I'm gonna freak out and be all like, "Trump said what? Trump did what? We're at war with Canada now."
I did this. I've had all day today. I'm supposed to be getting ready. Me and the girlfriend are going on vacation tomorrow. We're leaving at like 5 a.m. and I have a list of stuff I have to get done. I haven't done any of it. I've just been watching The Sopranos all day.
Yeah, and right now, whenever I was trying to get my computer set up, because my new computer just got here today, so I had to get a monitor for it and then go get an HDMI cord for that monitor. I mean, because it didn't come with one for some reason. But anyway, while I was fighting with all of that, Peter could have been getting ready, but instead he was drinking and watching cats play.
Yeah, I was drinking, hanging out with the cats, and I started watching Sopranos from season 1. It is a delight.
Honestly, I can't think of a better use of anyone's time than beer, cats, and Sopranos.
Well, it's been weird. Have you watched it from season 1?
I haven't ever seen The Sopranos.
Oh, it's really good. I'm sure, as everyone knows, because it's been off the air for years now. I've been doing that, and then I've been reading the Legends and Tales of King Arthur and His Knights. Which has been kind of a fun day. All right, so let's jump in. First thing that happened this week: the Trump administration moves to stop Oregon and other states from circumventing new tax law. Basically,
what's the new tax law?
Well, the new tax law was, remember the tax cut they passed for the super ultra wealthy. And they made up the balance on the backs of poor people.
Yeah, let me tell you all the reasons why that's such a shitty bill, too, why it's a scam, is because it does, give a huge tax cut to the phenomenally wealthy, the top 1%. Now, the middle class also get a little bit of a tax break for the first year and a slightly smaller one the second year, and then after that, their taxes increase and then go up more and more and more and more until they go up astronomically in about 15 years, because that's the GOP is setting it up in such a smarmy bullshit way so that the middle class will say, the Democrats are trying to say this is a scam, but I still got a tax break, so what are they talking about? And then in a couple years, whenever we have a Democrat in the White House, they'd be like, the Democrats raised my taxes.
Well,
see, that's the genius part of what the GOP is trying to do.
Well, yeah, well, maybe, but the thing about it is,
but also, and if you're poor, you still have to get paid. You still have to pay more and more until you hit the bracket where you don't have to pay taxes. But that level of poverty, those people have no money, and so they have no voice. They have no one that can actually fight for them and tell people, no, we're actually having to pay more straight from the get-go, straight from year one.
It's the age-old maxim that the poor pay no taxes because the poor don't have any money. The rich don't pay taxes because they make the tax laws. So it's the middle class that gets taxed. Basically, what this move does is it puts a cap on popular state and local tax deductions, meaning you could basically you could make these big deductions based on your state and local taxes. You could make those deductions from your federal taxes. But the Treasury Department's rules Thursday targets moves by states like Oregon, New York, and California, where residents could see a substantial increase in their federal tax bills because of the $10,000 cap on state and local deductions. It'll have to go to federal court. So this is also like a plan to target, blue states, which is interesting because, again, if you look at the way taxes work, the blue states, like the economies of like California and New York, provide most of the tax base for all of the red states.
Yeah, yeah. Like while the deplorables are saying that it's the Democrats that are lazy, that the reason why they all showed up for Obama's inauguration is because they ain't got jobs. While they're busy trying to push that narrative, it's actually the Democrats that are paying all of their taxes and all of their social securities and welfares and all that other stuff.
Now,
Because red states get welfare way more than blue states actually. So they're the ones that really need it.
I can't remember, but did we cover what the verdict in the Paul Manafort case was? I'm behind. I'm ahead. There's news happening. Did we talk about that?
Yeah, that was actually one of our most popular episodes, the fall of Manafort.
What
actually, no, we were just talking about
yeah.
the trial beginning, not how
Right.
it ended.
Follow
I
up
don't
on
know
that.
If we talked about how it ended.
Either way, just a quick recap. It ended with him being convicted on 8 out of 18 counts.
Or, how Fox News put it, Paul
cleared for
Manafort
10.
today found innocent on 10 counts.
Well, apparently he would have gotten all
Is
18.
Trump vindicated?
He would have gotten all 18 counts, but there was one holdout juror.
One asshole got a mistrial
there was
on
one
10
Trump
counts.
supporter that was like, I don't say it. And and then he would have gotten all 18. Either way, he's still going to go to jail. On top of that, Cohen, Michael Cohen, Trump's beloved lawyer. If you don't remember Cohen, he was the guy that went on. Was it CNN?
Says who?
Yeah, exactly.
CNN.
He's kind of like the annoying seagulls from Finding
All
Nemo.
of them.
The mine, except with says who?
It says most people. Says everyone?
Yeah.
Says who?
Yeah. So says the federal government. He took a plea deal recently to testify against, I guess, the Trump organization. And his plea deal. Here's the thing about plea deals. Usually, plea deal is I'll give you this info and you don't send me to jail, right?
Yep.
Best,
that is how it works.
Best plea deal he could get was I'll give you this information and you only give me 3 to 5 years.
Yep. I mean, this is a guy who's so innocent. He had a no-knock FBI search warrant issued on him.
Yeah. Well,
so,
yeah. The other.
And this is on someone who is the president's lawyer, so it could have sensitive information pertaining to the president of the United States. So this was a really, really big deal that he got raided. And that's why Trump's been trying to push the narrative that the FBI is all corrupt and crooked and all that. So this is the guy who said, I'm going to be the law and order president.
Well, I'm glad that
he has to spend all of his time, trying to discredit our Justice Department.
I'm glad that you bring up, him being arrested. So one of my political predictions kind of came true.
He was raided. I don't know if he was ever arrested, but he's going to jail now.
I don't know if this will be a political prediction, but I feel like I could claim it. Remember when I said the only thing worse than Cohen being arrested would be if Trump's bookkeeper got arrested?
Yes.
Trump Organization finance chief gets immunity. President Donald Trump's bookkeeper for his personal and business affairs for decades has been granted immunity in the federal probe, media outlets reported, for information on Trump. Alan Weisselberg got immunity to talk to federal prosecutors in the investigation of hush money Cohen paid to 2 women who claimed affairs with Trump. Cohen pleaded guilty, of course, to tax and campaign finance violations. So this is great. So the only thing worse than Cohen being arrested was what kind of information you have to have for them to give you full immunity?
Yeah, really good information that goes straight to the top.
Yeah, Weisselberg apparently has been a Trump confidant who started working for the family in the early 70s.
Oh, so he's been there through it all.
Yeah. Calls and emails to Trump Organizational General Counsel Alan Garten were not immediately answered, probably because they're just busy. I imagine that inside Trump Tower, like it looks like Nazi Germany in 1945, where like people are just stuffing documents down the shredder and throwing the shredder in the fireplace.
Yep.
You know, just
But
like get rid of everything.
I mean, we already know, thanks to Omarosa, that Trump walks around eating notes, thinking that that's how you get rid of stuff. I feel really bad for all the people that has to stop Trump from committing, more and more felonies, because you can't destroy any document that the president's ever handled.
So
him shredding documents is one thing, but if he's eating it, does that mean they have to pick through his feces?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, is there somebody that has to wait by the bathroom and then go in with gloves and be like, I gotta tape this document and his poop back together because it's gotta go in the Smithsonian.
I'm just picturing like the Flintstones bird. It's 11.
See, it's 11. I mean, that's what his whole White House feels like. It's just full of Flintstones birds. So yeah, I mean
As I drink more coffee, I can think of more Abe Simpson references and quotes.
The net is
closed. Back then they called it a B instead of a nickel because the Kaiser had stolen our 5. So I put an onion on my belt because it was the style at the time, you see. And
so the
Grandpa.
So the net is closing for sure, which makes me happy. One possibility. So we talked earlier about this.
Just so that we don't skirt past it. Cohen, under oath, did say. Now this is him saying a confession that is sending himself to prison. So he is going to do jail time for his own words, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said that Trump ordered him to commit the crimes that he committed and is now going to jail for.
Right.
So we have, we have a first-hand account, a first-hand witness, and a fairly reliable one. A reliable insofar as this person is doing jail time for what they're confessing to say that Trump is definitely someone who commits crimes. Now, never mind the fact that we already have Trump on camera confessing to committing crimes. For some reason, that doesn't count. Whenever he told someone on national television that he fired Comey because he wanted the Russia thing to go away, somehow that didn't count and get him immediately arrested.
Well,
but whatever. I guess open treason isn't considered treason. It has to be like something they try to hide.
Treason's really hard to prosecute.
If conspiracy against America.
If you remember a guy way back,
if people want to fight, or if people want to argue semantics, it's conspiracy against America. That's the peacetime equivalent of treason.
But like, if you remember back in, I believe it was 2002. I was actually on the debate club in high school. But this guy named John Walker Lynn, I believe, he was a U.S. citizen who was captured as an enemy combatant during the United States invasion of Afghanistan. It was in 2001. So I remember I had to do a whole debate club thing about John Walker Lynn basically taking up arms with a foreign government and fighting against the United States and whether he would be tried for treason or not. And I don't believe that he was tried for treason.
Yeah, it's really hard to get people on treason.
Oh, okay. So apparently John Walker Lynn. All right. So he was convicted by a grand jury on conspiracy to murder U.S. citizens, providing material support for terrorist organizations, supplying services, conspiracy to contribute services to Al Qaeda. But they don't have him on like treason, you know what I mean? And this dude was caught as an enemy combatant, like with Al Qaeda, like, hey, let's get him. So
prosecutors hate losing cases, so they always go for the lowest hanging possible fruit to get someone.
That's my point. So we talked earlier. I don't think that Trump's going to get brought up on treason charges. In fact,
that would be insane to charge a sitting U.S. president
with
treason.
It would be great for the message it would send that nobody's above the law, but precedent, I believe, takes us to the point in which, like, he'll be referred to impeachment before they attempt to indict him. Because to attempt to indict him without impeaching him, to try to indict the highest officer in the United States, would force a constitutional crisis, which could only be damaging to the United States. You know what I mean?
It would only be a constitutional crisis if Congress fought against it or did nothing.
Well, what the fuck do you think they're doing right now? So the point is, I think that
tooth and nail.
So I
By
think
hook
that
or crook, they want to win.
so he's going to be impeached, or he's probably going to be impeached, or at least impeachment's going to come up, which we know if the viewers, because our one super fan is less savvy than we are. So impeachment doesn't necessarily mean that you're removed from office.
Right.
You could be impeached, which I believe is like the Senate going, "You've been a bad boy," and the president going, "I know." And then like, is it the House that does that, and then the Senate has to decide to remove?
The House does impeachment. I think that they both have to decide to remove.
Right, yeah. So basically,
they
both have to scold you, and then they both have to decide to remove. When Clinton was impeached, it went to the Senate, who I believe decided not to remove him. But one of the pieces that I never thought about, one of the moves that might work, is that he may be pressured into resigning in lieu of being impeached and also having his children prosecuted.
Now, I hope that something happens to try and pressure him into stepping down. When Nixon stepped down, the Republicans in Congress came to him and told him, "You no longer have our support. Resign, sir, please."
Yeah.
And only then did he finally resign. And one guy by the name of Robert Ailes, I believe, the guy that founded Fox News.
Yeah.
He saw Nixon stepping down and thought, well, what if there was a news network out there that just sang his praises all the time? I bet he wouldn't have to step down then.
And then Roger Ailes.
So he founded
and
Fox News.
And 40 years later, Roger Ailes slipped in the shower and died, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, he's dead now, but his ghost remains haunting over us. Woo!
But I think that,
and his ghost is making sure that Trump stays in office.
I think that if basically he looks at
because you know Mitch McConnell's never going to come up to him and be like, "Sir, you really need to step down."
Well, Mitch McConnell is a what do you call it? He's a political operative. He'll do whatever is best for him and the party. I think that Trump is as damaging to him as helpful, but they can't be seen to split the party. But more importantly, I think there's a lot of people that are like, he's going to go to jail. No, he's not going to go to jail. I mean, you got to remember that Mueller is still a Republican appointee. He's a lifelong Republican. More than anything else, he just needs to be removed from office. If he can be removed from office and then prosecuted for eternity on the multitude of crimes he and his organization have committed as private citizens, and he is left destitute, I will be happy with that.
Yes, all the people that want to see him behind bars, please just keep in mind that it will be equally excruciating to him to see his family going to prison, because there's no way every single last one of them will get pardoned by Pence. Someone he loves will see jail time if they haven't already. Because I mean, Cohen seeing jail time. He loved Cohen. He hates him now, but at the same time, he whines that they're treating him like a mobster.
Yeah, I would have bet money. I would have bet you whatever money I had in my bank account that Cohen would never see jail time. That's a pretty big thing that the personal lawyer for the president is getting through. Now he'll probably serve less than a year because he's a lawyer. He's rich. It's 3 to 5 on a thing like that. But the point is, he's gonna go behind bars, and not to get more time. He's given up. It's like the speech from The Dark Knight when Harvey Dent's like, yeah, the top guys will get off, but all the middle guys won't, and some of them will flip, and their foot soldiers won't. Like that whole thing.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people all around Trump's sphere that are going down for this. And not only do you have to look at all the people who are going to be seeing jail time, but all the people that are just in general going to be ruined for tying themselves to Trump's sinking ship. Mm-hmm. They're never going to get hired again for the rest of their wretched lives. And Trump's presidency has empowered the left like never before.
Like Spicy went on, I think Spicy went on... was it Danish TV? Where he went on TV somewhere in Europe, and I think that he thinks that he's kind of oh, Melissa McCarthy made fun of me. I'm just kind of a fun teddy bear. But they ripped into him because people aren't fucking around, and I think that the danger of lampooning people like that is you're like, oh, he's just a gum chewing, but like no. People fucking hate you, Spicy. If you ever listen to our podcast, just know this, Sean Spicer. People hate you, and you suck, and you're probably never going to work again.
Yeah. That's that is the long and short of it.
Yeah.
The thing is that that.
So we got some
Trump
more Jeff.
Kills everything he touches, careers more than anything else.
Well, we got some Jeff Sessions news. I know he's your favorite guy.
Oh, I do declare.
The guy that you
That's my Jeff Sessions
the guy that you wrote you wrote a screenplay about.
Did I? I simply do not recall. I
All
don't
right, so this
recall
comes from the
that
China
either.
Daily. Sessions fires back at Trump's criticism. U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, in his strongest public response to criticism from President Donald Trump, said on Thursday that the department would not be improperly influenced by political considerations. If it was, it would be detained. I added the detained part because he adds that every time he talks about Mexicans. That's Sessions' rebuke of Trump came hours after Trump said in a TV interview aired earlier Thursday that Sessions says, not taking control of the Justice Department. I put in an Attorney General that never took control of the Justice Department. Jeff Sessions never took control of the Justice Department, and it's sort of an incredible thing. And then, of course, Sessions' response was, I took control of the Justice Department the day I was sworn in, which is why we have had unprecedented success at effectuating the president's agenda, which will be detained. On Sessions recusing himself of the probe, meaning he's not going to get involved, Trump said, "We can't amend this. It just recuses himself." Like he's mad that Sessions
Is following the law.
Yeah. He said, the only reason I gave him that job was I felt loyalty, and I thought he was one of those guys that came with the cookies that I bought. Because Sessions looks like a Keebler elf.
Yes, there was a very powerful rebuke of Sessions written by Martin Luther King's wife about why he would be just the worst possible scumbag to ever disgrace the face of the planet. And whenever Trump heard about that, he was like, that's my guy. I feel loyalty to him.
I feel like in response to that letter, Sessions must have been like,
but,
if you are married to Martin Luther King, you will be detained. Like,
yeah.
But,
Jeff
Loretta Scott
Sessions
King wrote a
is-
letter saying that he's a racist piece of crap, and he's our attorney general.
Yeah, and so Jeff Sessions is a monster, but he is not loyal to Trump necessarily, and so that's like the one saving grace is that he's not shutting down.
I think Jeff Sessions just wants to not go to jail and wants a job after all this is over.
Well, I mean, I want him to be homeless, but
Yeah.
wish in one hand, Trump in the other, and see which fills up first.
Like he might he already lost his seat to a Democrat in Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama. Yeah, because guess who was going to take his seat on the Republican side?
Old gunslinging pedophile Roy Moore.
Yep.
If you don't remember, Roy Moore was a former judge, I think, who was came out that like he had sexually assaulted or attempted to assault some 13-year-old girls, and he still almost won Sessions' seat.
Yeah, he won. He lost with like 49%. So, yeah, the people in Alabama really don't care if you bang 14-year-olds.
So the thing is, I think
But these are also the same people that say that they don't like transgendered individuals because, well, imagine them going into the bathroom with your daughter. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, imagine them
they
running
don't care.
for. Imagine
They
them
don't
running...
care if their daughters get
Yeah.
fucked. They just want to bitch about shit.
No. They don't care if their daughters get fucked as long as they're the ones that do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say apologies to everybody from Alabama, but you elected Jeff Sessions, so you're going to have to answer for that.
All right. Now, if you are...
If you are from Alabama, you will be
detained.
So, yeah, basically...
And look, if anyone from Alabama is upset by that, just know that me and Pete both grew up in freaking southeast Georgia.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's not like there's not a shit ton of very negative things that could be said about us.
Tain't much difference where we're from, friend.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think what's happening here is Trump is edging closer and closer to firing Sessions and firing Rosenstein and going like, all right, this whole thing is shut down, okay.
He said that he was thinking about doing that on a Fox News interview just 2 nights ago, last night.
Yeah, well, what's really funny is
I saw it trending on Twitter.
There was an op-ed piece about Lindsey Graham, everyone's favorite. Is Lindsey Graham a congressman or a senator?
I'm pretty sure he's a senator.
Everyone's favorite closeted, but not really closeted gay senator.
Well, when I was doing my Jeff Sessions impression earlier, I declare, that's actually my Lindsey Graham impression. I just like to use it for Sessions.
Well, like Lindsey Graham, like apparently told Trump that if he tries to interfere with the investigation, he was like, "Girlfriend, there's gonna be holy hell to pay, okay?" And
Yeah.
then he like backed up on it and was like, never mind, I guess, because they told me that I have to. So there was an op-ed piece. They're like, he's like the cowardly lion. Like, come on, Trump, put him up, put him up. But yeah, keep going back and forth.
I just had some
I mean,
courage.
that's the thing is that if he does that, it's going to force the constitutional crisis. I don't know if he will. I'm actually not sure why he hasn't yet. Besides,
a
I
lot
mean,
of
like I
people are
know that
telling
you were
him
like
not
he's like a
to.
little tiny fingered coward. I get that.
Yeah.
But like my whole point is, even then, like, he's done some fucked up stuff when he thinks that he can, and I don't know what's stopping him from firing Sesh and Rosenstein and shutting down the investigation.
I mean, it's like the song goes: "Tiny heart, tiny hands. What kind of monster does not pay a children's band?"
I don't
Remember
know.
the American All Star girls that came out there and sang for Trump during one
That was real
inauguration?
creepy. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah, he didn't fucking pay them.
Well, they should have been paid. Did you hear them? They fucking sucked. I don't feel bad for anybody that works for Donald Trump and then goes, "Hey, he stiffed me." Yeah, well, you
Yeah,
worked for
he's
this
a con
fucking
artist. We've been telling you that. This
Yeah.
isn't fake news. This is for real.
Yeah, you did that to yourself, man. Like he
I
brags
thought it was
about
just
like
the fake news.
he brags about like before he was president, he was like, I walk down the street and I don't have to pay for anything. They go, Mr. Trump, it's on the house, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? If he walked in my restaurant, I'd be like, we're charging him double. We're gonna spit in his food and charge him for it.
Yeah, just walk up to him, slap him in the face, and say that'll be $15.99.
So I got a question for you, about this whole immigration thing, Pat.
All right, shoot.
Why don't we just replace the migrant farm workers with high schoolers? This
Because
is
high
actually
schoolers are super fucking lazy.
well, this is actually the that's cute news for today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
High schooler migrant farmers.
Yeah. So why don't we just get some sturdy young high schoolers, in the prime of their life, and we'll have them go pick the crops.
Oh, I bet I know an out of work judge that would love to watch them.
Well, it turns out that the year was 1965, and that's exactly what we did.
We sent
Uh,
kids to go.
Yeah, we recruited 20,000 high schoolers to replace hundreds of thousands of Mexican agricultural workers who were pretty upset and were what do you call it? We're fighting for civil rights and stuff like that under Cesar Chavez because the migrants were suffering wage theft and terrible working and living conditions. So the U.S. government was like, I know what we'll do. We'll get some. They called it Project A Team, and they're just going to get all like the jocks and like the just American muscle out there picking crops.
I really want to know how that went.
Not too good. It turns out that the conditions. The conditions.
These are the creme de la creme, the liqueur of liqueur.
Yeah. It turns out the conditions were deplorable.
Like Trump's voters.
I like what one guy said. One guy was there, and Carter, this guy named Carter, says he goes, "Oh, actually, not many of them were athletes because the football coach told the sportsters, you're not going. We got 2 days of practices. You're not going to pick fucking strawberries." So it wasn't like the football players didn't even go because they had to play football.
Okay,
makes
sense.
So they got shipped out to like the west and sort of along the border and whatnot in Colorado and to pick all the crops. And he says it just didn't go well. They got paid the minimum wage, which was $1.40 an hour, plus 5 cents for every crate they filled with fruit. Breakfast apparently was, quote, out of the Navy, which was beans, eggs, and bologna sandwiches that literally toasted in the heat, even in the shade.
Awesome.
The University High crew worked about 6 days a week with Sundays off. They weren't allowed to return home during the stint. The farmers put them, so it wasn't like you could just go home, like, you're like, I want to go home. They'd be like, too bad. Pick those fucking strawberries, cupcake.
This has made me super hungry for strawberries, but I don't have any, so I'm eating blackberries.
You go pick
But
some.
do continue.
Apparently, the farmers put them in any kind of defunct housing, old army barracks, rooms made from discarded wood, buildings used to intern Japanese Americans during World War II.
So they're these students are literally being kept in internment camps
Just how
and made
migrants
to
lived.
just pick strawberries all day for
Um,
$5 a bucket.
they said, well, they worked 3 days and then they were all broke. Students staged strikes. At the end, the A team was considered a giant failure because
Yeah.
those working conditions sucked.
Yeah, like immigrants and our exploitation of immigrant labor is integral to America's economy. We have to fully exploit them, or else a lot of systems begin to fall apart.
But
So that's why that's why they're not taking anyone's gerbs, but instead,
I disagree on we have to exploit them for the system. I
well,
think,
yeah, we don't have to. And I'm just saying,
yeah, it was the same
the
way that people
Republicans
were
are
like,
busy exploiting the shit out of them, but
Yeah.
they also at the same time demonize them to get votes.
Yeah.
So they're really tackling them on both ends.
well, it's
here.
the same way that people were like, if the South doesn't have slaves, how will it exist? Like
Yeah,
every
with,
fucking where else, you don't have to exploit
Mexico.
people. The system can work around it. So the idea is that like maybe if we just made those, if you allowed the labor market to dictate what that job was worth, then the market and people would innovate. You know what I mean? That's how the market works. You either innovate or you die. Like slave labor and exploitation actually kill innovation. So the students dropped out because the conditions were so atrocious, the growers weren't able to hide it.
They weren't able to hide how atrocious the conditions were.
Yeah. Apparently, when everybody speaks English and is from like Iowa, they can go, "Yeah, man, that sucked for real," and everyone's like, "Oh shit." Apparently, Carter said, "If we took a vote the first day, we would have left, but it literally became a thing of pride. We weren't going to be fired, and we weren't going to quit. We were going to finish it." I'm like, "Or die."
I'm picturing them like torturing the poor immigrants, and they're like, "Pain estande." Did he just say that the pain is over that way? No. He said that the strawberries are yummy. He likes breakfast. Muy, how do you say I'm hurting in Spanish? Anyway, muy es pain.
Muy
And
es
then they
hurto.
drag him away.
I like what this guy says, though, and this is why
No
it's important.
bueno, no bueno.
He says, "There's nothing you can say to us that you can't tell us that migrant laborers are rapists or that they're lazy." He says, "We know the work they do. They
Like,
do it
look-
all their lives, not just one summer for a couple of months, and they raise their families on it. Anyone ever talks bad on them, I always think, keep talking, buddy, because I know what the real deal is."
Yeah, it's like, look, immigrants, these undocumented workers actually commit crimes at a much, much lower rate than Americans that were
You know
born
why?
in America.
You wanna know why?
Second generation.
It's real hard to commit crimes when you've been picking fucking strawberries all day and you're like, my arms hurt. My back hurts. I don't want to do any crime today.
Yeah. But I mean, there's that. Plus, they probably want to keep a low profile so that.
Also, their primary goal is to make money to raise their families. Like that's the thing.
They're coming over here and suffering for the sake of their family. They don't have time to be like thinking of exploiting anyone.
Well, even if
But
they're suffering, here's the other thing.
Whenever the
Even if they're-
deplorables say, "Well, they crossed the border illegally. That's a crime." It's like, God damn it! I'm talking about real crimes, like crimes where there's actually a victim.
If a law is unjust,
Took my gerb.
I think if the law is unjust, it is your job to break it and not to follow it.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you want to fall back on legalese, there is no limit to the horror and the suffering that you can impose upon others under like, well, it ain't against the law. There is what the law allows, and then there's the moral standard, which should be, your moral standard should be higher than what the law is, and you should hold yourself to it. If your moral standard is exactly what the law is, you're a fucking idiot.
Or you're living in a utopia.
Yeah, but clearly that's not the case.
Yep.
If only we could get rid of these Mexicans, we could live in a utopia.
It has to be the Mexicans.
Speaking of Mexicans, there was a Mexican immigrant who killed a white woman, and the Republicans are all over it, by the way.
I bet they are. I
Yeah.
bet they're finally able to get an erection again for the first time since Trump took office.
I don't mean to laugh at this,
fuckers.
and I feel bad that I'm laughing at the plight of like immigrant laborers, but the idea that the Republicans have just been like, I can't satisfy my wife, and then like they
Look, people like Fox News will just anytime something like that happens, they'll just talk about it nonstop. If anyone did that with, like, I don't know, white people committing crimes, then eventually they'd be able to paint the exact same narrative and say, why are white people so violent? Look at all the another crime was committed today by a white person.
So it was
But
her name was
they're
Molly Tibbetts in Iowa.
right, it's just a narrative. It's not facts. Like, they don't just commit crimes at the same rate that normal Americans do. But anyway,
So
tell the story.
so the idea was, I mean, like this. He was from Mexico. He was illegal. It was undocumented, and I guess she was jogging and he killed her. I'm pulling up the thing, but it's not giving me the the points. Anyway, Trump says he came from Mexico illegally and killed her. We need the wall, and we need our immigration laws changed. We need our border laws changed. We need Republicans to do it because Democrats are going to do it. So this just plays into their whole brown boogeyman thing. The other point someone brought up, which was far more interesting, was she wasn't killed because of illegal immigration. She was killed because he was a man that made a pass at her and she turned him down, so he became angry and murdered her. It's a man problem. And I'm like, that seems more likely.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that is a problem that men have.
I feel like there should be an Amber Alert system, but for Fox News people, it's just called like an immigrant alert. When an immigrant crime happens, it just goes out to all the phones, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, lock the doors."
Should go out to like all the Republican senators up for re-election. They'd be like, "Hell yeah, bust out the champagne! We just got a new talking point."
Yeah. But it's just dumb. You're focusing on one murder when, like, how many like statistical murders happen. Like, it's a dumb thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that
a shitload of murders happen all the time, and this one just happened. This is one of the very, very rare cases where an immigrant did the murder.
This is as ridiculous as when I was doing stand-up. I had this bit one time where people talk about shark attacks, right? And I go, but did you know that if you are shipwrecked in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, that you are still statistically more likely to be killed by a drunk driver than a shark?
Damn it. I laughed at that and I dropped the lid to my tea.
But it's fucking true. Statistically, more people are killed by drunk drivers than sharks. So when you're just out there going, help! Like, just know.
Yeah, I'm picturing like a cargo plane or something flying overhead, and some like drunk asshole is like driving in circles around the cargo bay, and then he accidentally opens the door and drives out of it. So you've fallen off your ship, and you're already like, well, this sucks. This day can't get any worse. And then you look up and you see the guys are like, whoa, out of the way, man! And he's blowing the horn as he's flying through the air right out the back of the cargo plane straight at you, and you're like, oh! And then it hits him, and
yeah, but that would be like,
Yep.
but yeah, it's the same kind of argument, and then it would be like arguing that we need some kind of like, magical Skynet to protect us from like drunk drive. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and it's not a problem. Like, there's better ways to deal with it. So that's a big talking point they're going on with. Interestingly enough, another thing that recently happened, apparently Microsoft stopped a hacking attempt on the 2018 election of some candidates.
I thought I heard something about that.
Yeah. So also Twitter and
yeah, I'm hoping that all these tech giants are done with this bullshit.
I think so, because Twitter and Facebook also removed a bunch of fake accounts, like aimed at like meddling and stuff like that, which is good. They should police for stuff like that, like, you know. So
if before anyone starts going, where is the thought police? No, it's not the thought police. These are fucking Russian bots that are attempting to meddle in an American election. That is fucked up, and we should go to war with them over this, or at least sanction the living shit out of them.
We should sanction them. I don't think we should go to war because, I mean, to be fair, we've been interfering in other people's elections for years.
Yeah, but still, what's good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander.
I guess if you're the gander.
Yeah,
like, hey, don't fuck with our elections.
But for real, though, like, I want to make things as miserable as possible for all the Russian oligarchs.
Why can't the Russians get another Boris Yeltsin? That dude was cool. He was corrupt, but he was fun, and he was a big, fat, drunk guy, and he seemed like a cool dude. Why?
What was that one guy's name? Was it Rasputin that was like killed and wrapped up in a blanket?
Yeah, he was the guy, the last czars of Russia, the last autocrats or kings of Russia. What was it? It was Nicholas, Anastasia, all that. They were basically murdered But Rasputin was like their creepy, dark magic advisor, and they poisoned him with cyanide, shot him, beat him, threw him in a river. Like it was really hard to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see him ruling Russia again. That would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, well, it wasn't a good time in Russia when that happened. That's for sure. All right, you ready for Pete's?
But I mean, what?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, give sorcerers, give the dark sorcerers a chance. Let Voldemort rule instead of Putin, and maybe we'll have some better days.
Well, I wish that somebody would just come kill these people outside my window, because apparently they just started. They just now decided to have an argument fest.
Huh.
I'm like,
Well,
really, guys? Outside my window, it was so good, and now you won't shut up.
Maybe science has a solution.
Yes,
Pete,
welcome
take us
to
away.
Pete's Science Corner. All right. First, the next sustainability crisis. Guess what we're running out of this week, Pat?
Is it natural oil?
No.
Gas?
Sand.
Sand?
Yeah.
I think we have plenty.
Okay.
Why are we running out of sand?
Because from 2011 to 2013, China used more cement than the United States has used in the entire 20th century.
Damn.
And in 2012, the world used enough concrete to build a wall around the equator that would be 89 feet high and 89 feet thick. Trump just had an orgasm if he ever reads this.
Oh no. Let's never let him find out about it, because we both know he's a hypocrite and he would definitely get China to build the wall.
So here's why it's important. The demand for sand continues unabated. And the problems with it, it's like a multi-billion-dollar industry. We need it to build our shit, right? But we're running out of it, because apparently the way it gets made, it's a lot slower making it than like mining it. Apparently dozens of islands have already vanished in Indonesia. We're using so much sand, islands have fucking disappeared.
China is stealing islands?
No, not China. I think the Indonesians are still on their own islands. China just used a lot. They probably sold the sand to Indonesia. But the point is, so much sand is being used that you're like, you know that island out there?
That is supervillain territory.
We turn that.
God, where's Rasputin when we need him?
So Malaysia and Indonesia have all put restrictions on or bans on exports of sand. However, the restrictions are only adding fuel to the fire. Illegal sand mining has attracted criminal gangs to sell the material on the black market. And countless lives have been lost as collateral. I'm like, really? Okay, we're in the end game here. People are dying over fucking sand. Further to the concerns, there's a new concern about a sand mafia. Worrying that the tighter restrictions will cause the price of sand to surge. Of course, this is no new phenomenon. We have seen this pattern again and again with other numbers. We're running out of fucking sand, and people are dying over it. And that's, as horrible as it is, it's kind of funny.
Weird. When I picture sand miners, I picture a person on like the beach with a pickaxe, and they can like get so far down, and then it all closes in above them, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't think this out at all."
I'm just imagining some dudes from New Jersey going, yeah, we got this sand. It just fell off the truck, if you know what I'm saying. We got all the premium sand for your sandbox. If this is fucking true, dude, I'm gonna fill my closet with sandbags, and I want to make that my retirement plan. I'm gonna get like a 50-gallon oil drum of oil, a 50-gallon oil drum of like clean drinking water, and like a 50-gallon oil drum of sand, because one of those is gonna make me rich.
God, do you think that Trump's a prophet and just the N key doesn't work on his keyboard?
No.
Instead of sad, it should be sand. Okay. China is taking our sand.
Well, apparently the problem with this is like there's a very specific kind of sand and like we use in concrete. Because when I was reading the article, they were like, "What about all the sand in the desert?" And I'm like, "Yeah, article. What about that?" And the article goes,
something else I was wondering. What about the Sahara?
The article goes, "It's fucking useless." And I'm like, fucking, you got me, article. You drug me in and then smacked me with it. Yeah, apparently that's the wrong kind of sand. It doesn't work. It's like water everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
Oh yeah, like how we're running out of water, but then, what about the ocean? Doesn't count. Oh no!
Yeah. Oh, you fucking idiot! What about the fucking? Oh, you can drink the oceans. Yeah, wrong kind of water, buddy. So there's more for Pete's Science Corner I want to tell you about too, and I'm really excited about this. And this is gonna be great. All right, China is turning to robots for policing.
Sweet.
And like, I know that there was like a little robot in like somewhere in the United States, and they were using that as a police robot, and then it fell in a fountain and died, right? And it was like, I was just learning to love. China did it better. In Beijing's in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, a stun gun wielding robots patrol crowds of tourists, and I'm like,
going, exterminate!
I
Exterminate!
okay, so this is exciting for a lot of reasons. It's terrible, but it's exciting. So
Surrender to the Daleks!
I'm excited because I want to see white people being treated equal under the law, and I can't wait to when they're like, wait, I'm white. Why am I being arrested? And the robot being like, I do not seek. Well, I see all colors, but I do not care. And then like, yeah. So this is kind of sad. The stun guns
little man clearly said, "Do not walk on the sidewalk."
The stun guns are activated by an officer.
I wasn't walking. It was just it changed early. It was exterminate.
So the problem is the stun guns are activated by an officer controlling the bot remotely, which I want to go away. I want autonomous fucking shock robots.
Yes, AI. Just they run around shocking people.
Yeah, they use facial recognition software to identify suspects.
You spat on the sidewalk. Exterminate!
It's gonna be great. Oh, these fucking robots are crazy.
Did you just put the plastic bottle in the trash can? That is not recycling.
I was confused. I didn't know which one was. Please don't kill me.
Exterminate!
We're all gonna die. So that's what China's doing, and like people are like, "Is this really ethical?" And I'm like, I don't think the Chinese care. But bigger point, is it ethical? Can it be less ethical than current policing standards? Probably not.
No, I mean, I think this could actually work out better if you just program what the law is and just like release the robots with stun guns and rifles and grenades. I don't care.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
I'm sorry.
You did not come to a full stop at the stop sign.
Because you can't argue with a robot. You're gonna be like, what's it like? You're just gonna get shocked. Like just anytime you just it's just like, please lay on the ground, assume that position. No, wait a minute. Like,
please assume the party escort submission position.
Yeah.
The what now? Exterminate. Wait, no.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a much more efficient and interesting police force. But yeah, so China's doing this. They actually want to create a fully automated police station driven by AI technology, which
a police station?
God, yes. So like, I guess
it's just like a mobile home, and they just robots drive it around.
I guess that like
they're just driving a house down the road.
I guess
we live here now.
I mean,
we
like,
have commandeered your housing space.
I guess the idea is that what will happen is the robots are going to arrest you and then bring you back to robot jail, and then I guess try you in robot court. All right, so here's what I'm saying. China's doing the robot police. We want to take our spot. We want to take our place on the world stage, right?
Yes.
All I'm saying is robot judges.
Yes, robot judges. State your case, sir. Well, now listen here. I don't believe that I should be here today. Goddamn robots should have been brought to trial. I do not understand you. Enunciate.
Like, I just want to see fully automated justice. Robot jurors, robot judges, robot cops, robot jail. Let's make it happen, man. Come on. Like, what's the term they're using right now? Like end stage capitalism?
Yes.
Fuck yeah, man. Let's do it, man.
Right before we move on to a third stage civilization where robots do everything for us and we get to be like those people in WALL-E.
Robots do everything Robots do everything for us and to us.
Yes, I'll finally have my robot sex slaves.
The way this is going, I don't know if you're gonna have a robot sex anything. You may be a robot sex receptacle.
I mean,
I don't think you're looking at this.
Tomato?
No. I think you're looking at it the wrong way, and you're like, yes, they're gonna be my sex slaves, and I'm like, you might be a robot sex receptacle, and that they're like, now bend for insertion, like, and I don't think, and if you're like, wait a minute, I don't like, you just get electrocuted. Like,
I shouldn't have voted in the robot police.
I think that like the decisions are going to be taken out of our hands very, very, very quickly. Like, whatever, man. If I end up getting cornholed by a robot, I'm going to feel a lot better about that than getting cornholed by another person against my will. That's all I'm saying. And I think that is the point I'm trying to make in this podcast. We have talked about robot sex slaves for the last 2 episodes.
Yar.
I feel
And
like...
we're including it on our landmark episode of 30.
Oh, yeah. Episode 30, robot sex slaves. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's... Because policing doesn't work. Like, the current policing model...
I do not understand your idea, Peter! Extrapolate!
Yeah. Yeah, so that's, I think that is most of my notes for this week. I still can't believe we're running out of sand.
Yeah, it's, like, weird. I want to know what happened to the islands, though. I'm just picturing islands getting ripped out of the ocean. Do you think that...
I imagine
I don't
it's...
know.
Okay, so, like, you ever vacuum up a little pile of sand in your house?
Yeah, I was just vacuuming today.
I feel like it's going to be like that, but with, like, a whole island.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the sand pirate side here, just because that's neat.
I like the idea that I can plan more easily for my retirement, because everyone's like, oh, you got to get a 401k, but you got to get a pension, you got to get an SD, you got to diversify your portfolio, you need an aggressive portfolio, but no, you need gold, but no, you don't need, like, listen, I got a barrel full of sand, and I'm banking on that becoming more valuable. What do you want?
Yeah, and if we take all the sand out of the ocean, then that's more room for people to be killed out there by drunk drivers.
Yeah, exactly, right? Beep, beep. Well, do you have anything else you want to cover for this episode? Was there anything that our super fan wanted us to cover?
I don't remember. Because now would be the perfect time to do that.
Well, whenever I go through, so for those of us listening, what we do for our podcast is we basically have a group chat that we send each other news articles and stuff. But we've also our super fan, old Wesley, is also in our group chat, and so me and Pat send articles back and forth to each other, and then Wesley just posts random memes of minions that don't have anything to do with anything. And I didn't realize how annoying it was till I was going back through our group chat to, like, pull the article links up and make notes, and I'm like, why are there so many fucking minions in this goddamn... I'm gonna have to create a second chat for our... Fucking goddamn it. I do like, though, that he's slowly growing the Muckrakers armies one person at a time.
And, oh my god, NASA says that a potentially hazardous 500-foot asteroid's approaching Earth?
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing I meant to mention, but I got so excited about, like, murder robots that I forgot about that. Yeah, that was also in my notes. Yeah, apparently there's a near-Earth object. We keep having those, and they don't hit us, but, like, I don't know. I guess it's going to come close, but we don't really know.
Oh.
When I was in that astrophysics class a few weeks ago, so they told us about near-Earth objects weren't really a big deal because the Earth is a very small target, right?
I mean, yeah, relative to a lot of things, but I mean, they only have to hit us once to obliterate us.
Well, it gets better. So they're like, the Earth is a really small target. So the next day they're like, look at all the impact craters on the moon. And I'm like, isn't the moon a much smaller target than the Earth, but it's just peppered with impact craters?
Yeah. In fact, it has actually caught a shitload of doomsday meteors for us. Just coincidentally, they hit the moon instead of us. It's a great shield.
Yeah, I really wanted to be like, why did that happen?
If you want to be, like, super freaked out, look at a picture of the dark side of the moon. That's the side of the moon that always faces out away from Earth. It has a hell of a lot more craters than the visible side.
Yeah, but like we've talked about before...
If anyone's not aware, our moon is tidally locked to Earth, meaning we only see one side of it.
Yeah.
The moon rotates at the same speed that it revolves around the Earth one full time. So one side of it always faces us, just like Mercury with the sun, it's tidally locked.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, but it's...
the dark side of the moon is simply the side that we don't see. It's not in perpetual darkness. It still points at the sun sometimes and would have light. And we've flown satellites out there to photograph it.
Yeah, it looks like if you ever see if you've grown up in the South and there's a road sign on a seldom traveled country road, it's always peppered with bullet holes.
Yep.
And that is our moon. And I do believe that is our show for today. If you are listening or you're giving us a listen, please go subscribe and give us a like. Like us and subscribe. I can't say it enough. Subscribe and like and subscribe, subscribe and like.
It,
We're on iTunes.
if you really want to make us happy, subscribe to iTunes, subscribe to SoundCloud, subscribe to YouTube.
Subscribe to them all, but subscribe and like something. Leave us a comment because we need them likes to get that money. Because we ain't got that money yet, but we gonna get it.
We gonna get that money like Florida man.
Yeah. I guess at this point, by episode 30, are we officially part of the mainstream media?
All right, we're those liberal MSM cucks now.
I'm MSM. All right, no, I don't think we're MSM. I think we'd have to have a lot more money and a lot more suits for that.
I think we'd have to actually also have like a bunch of listeners.
Well, we have.
I was about to say listeners, but we have at least one.
We have enough listeners, I think, to have to rent. If we were going to take a trip with all our listeners, we'd have to rent a van.
Yeah, at least.
At least a van. So for that, we thank you. Now, if we could maybe get it up to a tour bus or at least a second van.
Wonderful. Yeah, we still have like 5 minutes to kill, so. And audience, usually I have like a lot of notes prepared for each episode, but this time I just have nothing. Like I was saying, WoW has stripped me of my time.
Well, I mean, I don't think we have to fill the next 5 minutes by just making mouth sounds. I think it's good to cut it when we cut it, unless you get anything particularly biting to talk about. I also
follow our Twitter at those Muckrakers.
Follow our Twitter at what is it? Fuck, I don't remember. Find us on Twitter.
Find us on Twitter. Save me.
Follow us on
Sand
Instagram.
Pirates have me.
We don't have an Instagram. Well, make us an Instagram and then follow it. Damn it.
Look under T for the Muddock.
Or for the Instagram. All right. Well, that's been our show this week. If you want to catch me on tour, I'll be on vacation in Asheville. So come find me. If you're in
Asheville, Tennessee.
No, not Nashville. Asheville, North Carolina.
In Asheville, North Carolina.
Come say hi if you see me. If you recognize me from the podcast.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know, man. Keep your powder dry, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, I'm in North Carolina, and that white guy just said something bad about Trump. It must be Peter.
Yeah.
And you'd be right.
I often go to bars in the South, and I go, I hate the president! Who wants to fight me?
So that's where you'll find him, getting beat up in bars in the South.
So have a good week. Keep watching the news. Keep your powder dry, and we'll see you next week.
Do, 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 do.